This week on The Rock, Lauren McClintock and Joni Umayim take on common New Year's resolutions to see if they can stick with it. Cooper Nichols and Nathan James Morgan check in with the school district about the quickly approaching return to in-person learning. Emmy Mavar and Ali Perez take a look at the daily life of teachers under COVID. All this and more this week on The Rock.
Strongly on the rock, we'll make the show until we drop. We'll bring you news and we won't tell lies. Please watch the rock or we will cry. It's made for students just like you. You're gonna wanna see what we do this week on The Rock. 3, 2, 1, we're live.
Welcome back to The Rock HS. I'm Nathan Morgan.
And I'm Cooper Nichols. We've got a great show lined up for you today.
To start off, many people have resolutions to turn over a new leaf for the next year, especially with 2020 being as rough as it was.
But how hard is it to stick to a new resolution? Lauren McClintock and Joni Umayim investigate in this week's episode of The Rock Tries.
New Year's resolutions are a popular tradition where people resolve to change unwanted behaviors or try to be a better person, or commit to a goal that they want to achieve in the new year. So we asked the students of AHS if they had any New Year's resolutions, and 70% said they did. So Jonah and I decided that we were going to take on some New Year's resolutions that the school has suggested and see how they played out. We went vegan for a week, walked 10,000 steps a day for a week, and paid 5 compliments a day for a week. Enjoy us trying out veganism and walking 10,000 steps and paying 5 compliments.
It's just about the end of day 1. I woke up in the morning and had a hearty vegan breakfast.
I forgot milk wasn't vegan and I had cereal.
You know, I complimented a few people, told her that she had a cute dog, and it just occurred to me that that's a really weird compliment, because, you know, when... And walking was really nice too, like, you know, I went into the woods and did a bunch of fun stuff. I'm gonna throw a rock.
It's the first day of walking. With me, 10,000 is a lot more steps than we thought.
I'm in the woods again. This time I'm a little lost, which on the bright side does make the vegan diet a little easier. I made a peanut butter and honey sandwich. I looked it up. Peanut butter's vegan, so bon appetit, baby. Get out. About that, I realized afterwards that honey comes from bees.
So I definitely thought veganism was gonna be easier than it was.
The vegan diet did not do. It was a complete failure, not surprised. If you're vegan, big ups, good on ya, but it's not for me. I like cheese too much.
Man, I love cheese. Gosh, I missed cheese.
Complimenting people, that was pretty good. I didn't always hit 5 people every day, but you know, it's not too hard to go out of your way and just say a nice thing to a person. Hunter, I'm not gonna lie, you're fit as fire.
Just be nice. I paid a lot of compliments to people, you know? You compliment their hair, compliment your family. People need it. And I know I like hearing compliments, so I'm sure they'll appreciate them as well.
And the walks were very nice. I don't go out of the house by myself very much, so going just on a walk to clear my thoughts, go out, feel the fresh air was very nice. I ate a leaf. That was pretty cool.
I remember reading the list of possible New Year's resolutions that Joan and I could try out. and looking at it and seeing, oh, 10,000 steps? That doesn't seem like a lot of steps. We can do that. That's a lot of steps. Thank God, potatoes are vegan.
Overall, terrible experience. Would not recommend. Just kidding. Hopefully your New Year's resolutions go well. So, yeah.
Thanks, Lauren and Jonah. Making a change can be difficult sometimes, even one for the better.
Speaking of major changes, are you excited to go back to school in person in a few weeks?
Definitely. A lot of things are still up in the air right now, but we wanted to clear up some questions in this next segment.
There will be many things different about school this coming semester when we return to in-person learning. First and foremost, it's a different experience. Students will be wearing masks. Students will be required to be 6 feet apart. We're gonna not be able to mix and socialize like you used to be able to do. Congregating in the hallways, congregating outside, all of those practices we won't be able to support. So students are going to be coming to school. It's going to be more business-like. You'll be navigating the hallways different. Your lunch experience is going to be different. It'll be very unlikely that you'll have off-campus lunches, and the classroom experience will be really different. You're going to have half of your peers in the classroom separated from each other. There are many factors for us to consider bringing students back to in-person learning. Some of those factors include how many cases or positive cases we have over a 2-week period of time per 100,000 people within the county. We look at hospitalization rates. We look at cases that are happening locally within our own community here in Anacortes. We also have to consider all of the operational factors within the school. So for example, we need to make sure that we have dedicated staff, nursing staff who can help us in case somebody tests positive. We can contact trace and identify which students or adults came in contact with that person. We need to make sure that all of our safety precautions such as hand washing, cleaning desks are in place. We need to make sure that the air ventilation in the building is consistently flowing. We know that the number one indicator for testing positive for COVID is through the air transmission, not necessarily on the surfaces. This has been a crazy year for all of us. I just want to say that all of us are learning the lessons of flexibility right now. And as I'm trying to understand and navigate and build the return to in-person learning, there's never a guarantee. And thank you everybody for your patience and flexibility. We will get through this. We're going to come back to some sense of normal soon. I'm hopeful. And I appreciate, again, your flexibility and patience during these really tough times.
I hope everything goes as planned when we return to school.
Speaking of school, we've talked a lot about how students are being impacted by remote learning, but I wonder how the teachers are doing.
Well, Ali Perez and Emmy Mavar made a fun sketch about what teachers have been doing during distance learning. Let's watch.
Welcome back to the Teaching Teacher blog. I'm your host, Nancy Kelly. Today, we're going to be talking with some local teachers about a topic many of you have been struggling with, online teaching. First up, we have chemistry teacher Miss Anderson. Thank you for joining us today. Would you mind please elaborating on some of your experiences with online teaching?
Zoom has been particularly difficult with interacting with students. I wonder a lot about what they look like, if they're even there, and if they can hear me. When I'm not teaching, I play a lot of video games. Like, a lot. Imagine the amount that a normal adult would play, and multiply that by 3. I'll also browse cat adoption profiles, and often I will wrap myself up in a nice warm blanket and experience existential dread over the world that we live in. Oh, and I'll actively plot destroying the patriarchy. That one's important.
Okay then. Thank you, Miss Pullen, our next guest, a history teacher. Would you please elaborate on what your experience has been like?
Well, Nancy, I probably have 6 or 7 lip glosses at my desk, and I make sure that it's on straight because I know that even if I can't see my students, they're probably looking at me. And as a Taurus and a well-trained introvert, I prefer being alone, so distance learning has only benefited that aspect of my life. My classic activities are probably dressing my cat up for photo shoots, probably some knitting. I'll knit socks and sweaters and blankets, you name it, and tea drinking. I'm basically an 80-year-old woman.
All right, well, I am glad you are keeping yourself busy there. Up next, we have a leadership teacher, Mr. Andrich. Would you mind please explaining what this experience has been like for you?
Good question, Nancy. Well, in between classes, I go down to the kitchen to monitor and inventory my stash of LaCroix and kombucha. And outside of class, after a long day of dealing with unruly leadership students, I often find myself sitting cross-legged on the beach while contemplating my next lesson. When I'm stuck on an idea or how to deal with a disruptive student, I immediately think, WWJPD, what would Jessica Pullen do? And like magic, a solution presents itself.
Thank you, Andrich. I suppose you find yourself knitting quite often then. Lastly, we have drama teacher Mr. Burnett. What has your online learning experience been like?
Thank you for asking, Nancy. Things have been better, I'll tell you that. It's been a difficult adjustment going from seeing my students every day to just staring at a computer screen. In Zoom classes and when I take walks around the building, I'm wishing I could connect with my students. That's the thing I think about most and miss the most, is that I don't get to connect in an authentic way with my students. If I know one thing, is that the sooner that things get back to normal, the happier we can all be. Sorry, excuse me. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to excuse me.
Wow, it's safe to say I'm at a loss for words, but if it makes you feel any better, just know that many of us are feeling this way, and that is what the Teaching Teacher blog is here for. Thank you for tuning in, and be sure to check back next week where we discuss the epic highs and lows of high school football.
Funny. I hope teachers are handling things okay. I know we are all looking forward to seeing them in person again.
Agreed. Well, that's it for our show today. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please email them to therock@asd103.org. We love to hear your feedback.
And with that, I'm Nathan Morgan.
And I'm Cooper Nichols.
And from our rock to yours, have a great day, AHS.